Welcome to the Missing Ingredient Podcast with CJ Bruce, where food and beverage founders, operators, and experts share the real strategies behind building successful brands. Let's jump into today's show.
Hey, I'm CJ Bruce, and welcome to the show. This is the podcast for founders and leaders of high-impact food and beverage brands who are serious about scaling. Each episode, I sit down with the people who power the food and beverage industry, brand operators, agencies, vendors, creators, and retailers, to uncomplicate the strategies that take brands from early traction to serious scale. This episode is sponsored by The Missing Ingredient, a food and beverage marketing agency with over a decade in the industry. We take a different approach, starting with your business goals, looking at the full picture, and building a marketing strategy that actually ties back to growth. From content and performance marketing to influencer partnerships and AI-powered workflows, we're an extension of your team, not just another vendor. Learn more at themissingingredient.com. Now, for today's guest. Laurie Buckle is the founder and CEO of CookIt Media, where she's helping redefine what it means to be a creator in the food and lifestyle space. She built her career at the intersection of media, talent, and brand strategy with a focus on turning influence into long-term business. Laurie is known for her clear-eyed perspective on the creator economy and for helping talent grow with intention, not just momentum. Welcome to the show, Laurie.
Thanks so much, CJ. I'm so happy to do this with you.
Happy to have you here. Yeah, so we've known each other for many moons. Yeah, we started close to around the same time, and we were in a little mastermind group in LA. So it can
that was a great mastermind. Remember when masterminds were a thing?
they were a thing. A little shout out to Peter and Fat if they're listening in.
Yeah.
All right, so we can jump right in. So I think first I want to start with your backstory. So I think interesting kind of background that led you to where you are today. So can you talk about, you come from the media space, and then you got into, the creator and influencer world. So could you just take a little bit time, tell us about, before you started CookIt, what was your background that kind of led to this?
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to. We may need a couple of days, but I think it's easiest just to jump in with what I was doing at Bon Appétit. Bon Appétit was one of my first jobs. It was just like the luckiest break ever. And rising through the ranks there and obviously learning everything to know about food. I was there for a long time. Finally decided to jump ship and wanted to really run my own magazine and really figure out, sort of what that was and what the concepts were in terms of, understanding audience and all the pieces that go into that. So, moved over to Connecticut for a little while and picked up a magazine called Fine Cooking that had been around for a long time, but it was tired, it was old, it really needed a refresh, and it really needed to understand, sort of where cooking was in the conversation at that point in time. So did that for a few years, and then also went to the Food Network magazine for just a short time. I was covering for somebody, but that was a really also an interesting piece of kind of understanding, sort of the parts of the industry that really did rely on amazing cooks, amazing chefs, people who were the talk of the town kind of thing. So that was fascinating. That was kind of pre-influencer, pre all of the things that we do now. And then hopped over to Better Homes and Gardens, which, people don't necessarily think about it as a food magazine, but it has been in the business for like more than, I think, 100 years. And it has the most amazing test kitchen. It was bigger than Bon Appétit. So, I love a test kitchen, but it was an incredible space and a really great opportunity to understand a completely different audience. And all of that just kind of led me into this idea of, sort of where is all of this going and where am I seeing like the future of, content and what that looks like. And over time, really realizing that what I started cooking from was bloggers, basically. At first, I didn't trust them because they didn't grow up in a test kitchen. Do you know what I mean? I was like very high standards there. But then I started following their recipes, which I don't usually do. I'm usually more kind of an instinctual cook kind of thing. But I started following the recipes and I was like, wow, this is so much better than what I thought it was going to be. And she said to do this, and I didn't want to do that, but I did anyway. And I was like, oh, this is actually really good. So I got really interested in the creator space and what that was at that point in time. They were bloggers, they were not creators. It's been many years since that. And wanting to kind of figure out how are they doing what they're doing? Do they know that they have this potential to become businesses? Because I think for a long time, they were all saying, oh no, I just do this for my mom or something like that, like a hobby. I still get that every now and then, which is a surprise. But it was wanting to kind of say, all right, let's like figure out what I know about building a business, from all the media strategy and budgets and that kind of thing, and target audience and content and all of those pieces. What do I know that would benefit a blogger? I got very lucky. Right out of the chute, met Gabi Dalkin of What's Gabi Cooking, and I just went to her and I basically said, you know what? I just need a test monkey. Could we just do this for a little bit and see what happens? And we spent more than a year on it. And we built this brand. Like, it was like the California girl, and how, she's healthy here, but then over here, she used to make this thing called slutty brownies. So it was, it was that idea of balance and really building a brand that followers could understand and see relevance in for them. Obviously, they wanted to wear red lipstick one day and heels the next, and then have this, and what, they wanted that balanced life too. And that for me was really that kind of place where CookIt kind of began to take place. CookIt became a consulting business. Obviously Gabi is still a huge friend and everything, but after that word sort of spread, as other people were coming and saying, wow, can you help me do this too? That's where it really started on the consulting space. And pretty quickly from there, it became an agency, simply because those individuals who were really building these great blogs were getting approached by brands. This is about 2012, 2013 in there. And it was early days. But having come from magazines, you have your editorial team in one pocket, your sales team in the other. I was so familiar with the sales side of things, probably more so than I should have been at that point. But that was the piece where, okay, that clicked in, this clicked in, and all of a sudden we were CookIt Media, and we were working with creators to help them build their brands, and we were also providing them with brand partnerships effectively. And to this day, that is basically what we still do. I could keep going because I do want to tell you what we're doing in addition to brand partnerships, but I should let you get in here.
Yeah, no, it's great. That is where we're going next. And I think it's such an interesting space where you sit with both, having the traditional media background, and then also sitting, with your, you understand where the creators are coming from and helping them grow their businesses, and then also understanding, where brands are coming from that want to work with them, and being able to, help to support those relationships. So yeah, so let's get into it. What are you doing with CookIt Media today? What's the business look like, and tell us a little bit more about it.
It's actually a very exciting story. We're pretty much on fire right now. It's so funny. Every now and then we'll have a conversation with ourselves, like, why is this going so well? But more to the point, it really is. It's becoming clear that, we've been in this business for 10, almost 11 years in June. So we really did start when dinosaurs walked the earth, kind of thing. And it has given us this opportunity I really think that this is where the vision around where the industry is going is coming from. So yes, we still do brand partnerships. Obviously, that will always be at the core of what we do. But we see this opportunity to build services into the business that are helping creators get to where they want to go beyond brand partnerships. And I love this part of it so much, because it is that chance. It's kind of going back to the consulting side a little bit, but it is that opportunity for someone to come to me and say, I'd really like to write a cookbook. I'd really like my own line of spices. I really want to, start this particular television, sort of show or opportunity, and be there for them in that process too, and help them make the connections. We have something called the CookIt Council, which is just the coolest group of individuals who have expertise in all of those topics. And I'm able to work with them in the strategy part, and then also, turn them over to the most amazing co-packer I've ever met, kind of thing. So I feel like we're we are really understanding, and I think it is the result of all this time in the business. We're watching the business do that, and we're watching the creators understand their potential out there in the world of, small businesses, supplements, whatever it is that they want to be creating, and for us to ride that wave with them, which makes it really interesting. And I think it really helps us stand out in the industry in a way that is really this kind of the secret to our success right now.
Yeah, it's super interesting. I think it's just this whole opportunity for creators to build their brands, and what does that look like? And it reminds me of somewhat of a little bit of talent management, and guiding someone's career over time and wherever that leads, and these different pathways and all of
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
I used to think I used to think what we did was quite different than traditional talent management. I sort of, we would have conversations with them and kind of not even understand each other's business models. But I'm starting to see that too. I'm starting to see what I can learn from that and apply it to what we're doing over here on the creator side.
Yeah, interesting. So let's dig into some some details of the day to day. I think I want to get into some aspects I think would help people listening. So I think let's talk about negotiations, and just I know you're moving into like building the business of creators. I want to circle back to that.
Yeah.
To touch on the brands working with creators piece, and how you think about those, like, negotiating those partnerships, both from a financial standpoint, but also the creative standpoint, right? It's like we see this too. Brands come in, they want to, got to get our brand message in there. They got to see the brand. And then obviously creators have their own voice, and you're going with them for their reasons. But can you tell us how you approach that?
A little tension in the middle thing there. Yeah. um, it's such a great question. We work with creators of all kinds, and we work with brands of all sort of different sorts of brands. And I think it's reflected in the way certain kinds of brands, like CPG brands, for an example, where they are in the industry and what they understand about influencer marketing, and how they do or do not kind of really get where the success is. Because ultimately, the success in any partnership is that place where the creator is able to create the content that she knows will work for her audience, and the brand is able to influence that content to a very small degree, basically, with, coming without expectations of this will happen and that will happen, or coming without, sort of key messages that must be in there. Those are the kinds of things that really hold creators back. And working to create that partnership, that place in the middle where both entities effectively understand what the other one wants. And I think that's, getting to that is really the magic in this business, because if one or the other of those is kind of off, then somebody's not happy. Do you know what I mean? The creator feels stuck and needing to do this or that, something that she doesn't think that her audience is going to appreciate. And the brand is stuck in that, but wait, we thought we could tell this person what to do. Why is that not the case? So there's so much education in it. Even all these years later, brands are still, and creators are still in that space trying to understand each other. And I think it's such a great space, because it really does give us the opportunity to kind of be that guide through it, and make sure everybody comes out with the best possible scenario.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I think there's like you said, even though it's been a while in terms of the industry, it's still something that I feel like people need help with, and need to some guidance.
That's actually the best way to put it, because new talent is coming in all the time. Do you know what I mean? Management is new to them. Walking them through what management is and what they can expect. That's its whole sort of educational strategy. Same thing on the brand side. It can be a brand new brand who is really trying to say, I know I need to get into influencer. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to, but we're that soft landing space where we want to be the tool that really does guide them through it.
Yeah, that's great. I want to talk about measuring success. And so when you're working with brands, there's, obviously there's an awareness piece, you're getting great content. I'm sure some of the brands you work with are also looking for, sales impact. Think about that. So maybe just more broadly, like how do you think about measuring success when working with creators?
All the time. It really, I mean, success is kind of what we were just talking about. It is that place where everyone walks away from the experience feeling like that was great. I want to do that again. I'm coming back. We're gonna make this person, a rate, that kind of thing. I think that is truly success. But obviously there is so much more that is, it kind of teeters on that edge of advertising sometimes and how that is shaping the industry, but also how this is very much still marketing and what that means and kind of keeping all of those, all those irons in the fire and understanding them, but also realizing that in so many ways, the creator is the most important part of the process. And a creator has to have certain things in order to be able to deliver what, the most of what the brand is asking for. I do think, I think this is a little controversial. No surprise. But
Hot takes.
but the conversion side of things is really tricky, especially in the food world, because if you think about it, if it's a milk brand, and it's a milk that the creator uses all the time, and it's a really great partnership. But in terms of conversion, how many people are going to go to a website and buy a gallon of milk simply because someone said to do that? Do you know what I mean? It's like, no, I'm going to go to the store and I'm going to pick it up when I'm at the store. And that is very hard to track. Obviously, I'm sure you know that you and I have talked about this before. How do we track that ultimately it is conversion, but what happened in the interim there? So I think that is tricky. I also think when conversion is, it's just the goal. I'm not sure influencer is the right place for that because they are not salespeople. They are influencers. And that the value of influence, I truly believe is actually greater than conversion if you think about it. Because if there is a follower and she really trusts this person and this person is really talking about, something that she loves so organically that it's not even a partnership kind of thing. It's organic mentions or whatever it might be. We're really big on organic mentions as we move into, kind of helping a brand see the benefits of that. But that's the kind of thing that really does move mountains. And that has to be there in the process. So all of that said, I mean, obviously there are still things that, we look at all the time. We look at link clicks, we look at engagement, we look at those things that are within the data, within the metrics of the creators, sort of what they do sort of thing. And those, I get that those are important. And those are some ways to make people feel like, okay, we can measure this. I know we're all trying to measure our results. Do you know what I mean? And speaking personally, sometimes it's challenging. It can be vague and it can be, different ways of looking at it. One brand could say, well, we measure this kind of thing. And we could say, well, that's great. But what if you thought about it this way? Would that get you closer to what it was that you wanted to be doing? So I think all those things are just kind of a big plate of spaghetti. Do you know what I mean? That we're all sort of trying to figure out all the time. And it changes too. And it changes, from one platform to the next.
Yeah, no, it is the messy middle, I think is the way we think about it too. It's just like, yeah, somebody, heard about it here. What happens between that and them actually buying,
Yeah.
You can't really know for sure.
No, I watch myself do that. And I'm like, oh, I didn't click that link. I went over here because I like this brand because it gets it to me faster or something like that. Do you know what I mean? I feel like we're all just kind of finding our own paths through the maze.
Yeah, it's a little bit of, at least curious you experience. It's like, I feel like because it's online and digital that people think you can measure all these different, every specific thing that happens all the way along the way. So that there's this expectation sometimes, but I think what you said makes a ton of sense. And I agree. I think we see the same thing where isn't directly trackable one-to-one, but even just talking about the performance side where we'll get stuff that's, on paid media and driving sales, you need that top of funnel awareness and the word of mouth and the engagement that comes from these more authentic connections
Start with,
that drives that. Yeah. So they work together for sure. Okay. Curious about, I mean, we touched a little bit on this, but when again, the brand kind of influencer creator relationship, what are some of the big mistakes that brands make that you see often? And maybe, could be a long list. Maybe we need a whole other podcast about this, but what are some of those mistakes that you see and that you would, advise brands to correct?
I know. And that's not talking about anyone in particular here, but I think it is that idea that they know more than the creator knows. That is such a tricky thing. Or they have goals that are just not even possible kind of thing. And it's so interesting. So I think one of the kind of more interesting things about what we do is that we work with brands, definitely, but we also work with the agencies that represent the brands. And we work in-house with the brands sometimes, and we work out of house with their agencies. And it's almost, there's something in there that sort of complicates things depending on what the goals are of that particular entity. Kind of love being in-house with the brand and really kind of understanding throughout their company, what are their expectations, what are their goals, that sort of thing. But also love the agency part of it because they're so smart about it. They're in this basically the same business we are in so many ways. And they can be great partners for the brands at the same time. So I think it's kind of, there's a lot of people involved in that conversation, but I think ultimately it is that brand who is able to say, yes, we've been doing influencer for a while. We really get it. We really understand it. We want to take a minute here to look at a particular piece of it and see if we have ROI on that or something like that. But that's the kind of brand that is actually going to succeed because they're fluid and they're thinking about what this industry can do for them. I think it is the people who just come with, we just want this. And there's no conversation, no negotiation, anything, that are tying our hands because we aren't able to be that educator that we want to be. And we aren't able to really promise them exactly what they want because obviously there's the creator piece of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's really good, good framing on all of that. Right. So thinking about working with influencers.
And it's so complicated. Do you know what I mean? Some people think what is it? Just marketing, you guys. Like, what's it about? It's like, oh no. It's like really getting inside how it all comes together. It's almost like a production, a play or something.
100%. And moving parts. And I think that's a good analogy because it is much more, creative than it is transactional, right? Yes. It's like you have to be able to collaborate and there are trade-offs and everybody's got to make some compromises and you got to figure out where those edges are.
Yeah.
It's
so true. And we really focus on, our sort of what we do well is basically what I have always done, which is content. So for us, we really stay in that place about the content, the value of the content. If somebody comes to me and says, oh my God, this algorithm just like kicked me out kind of thing, I don't know what to do. I truly believe that the best answer is just go make the best content you possibly can. That's what Instagram wants from you. Do you know what I mean? That's what your followers want from you. Kind of let some of the performance go and let it be more about just great content, really good information, inspiring ideas, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. I think, curious to get into, so we talked about kind of the brand relation with the creators, and you touched on this a little bit at the top, and I'm curious how you've, being so intimate with the creators that you work with, how have you seen their perspectives and priorities evolve, over the last few years or kind of to where you are today?
Yeah, that's a really good question. We are very intimate with our roster. We really look at them as members of our team, and we spend a lot of time with them. And the talent teams, they're always in those conversations, and they always are working to help the creators achieve the goals that they have for themselves. And I think that is what management should be. I think a lot of people, who kind of get to that point in their careers where they realize, wow, so much is happening. Like so many brands are reaching out to me. I have so much work. I don't know what to do. Maybe it's time to think about management. but they don't really know what management is and how management can be this, this kind of tool for them that elevates them and gives them back the time that they need to be the best content creator they can be. And I think that piece of it is so important it's really important to us, obviously. But when you find an agency like that, I think that's really kind of the solution to that in terms of, really getting the most out of the opportunity.
Mm,
That makes sense.
nice. Yeah. I want to go back to the content piece. You talked about, just focusing on creating great content. And I'm curious if any examples come to mind of like things that you've thought about recently or seen recently or, done, whether that's just from the creators or creators and brands collaborating, that you feel like is a good example of, where something really came together and clicked.
That's a really good question. I kind of feel like that's always happening. Do you know what I mean? It is the kind of thing where, like, obviously I'm online all the time too, watching what is ultimately the product that, was negotiated, however long ago, sort of thing. And I'm always so surprised at how great it is and how I can let go of the fact that, okay, I know this is my talent and everything, but damn, I'm going to go buy that thing that she just told me to because she was so good. I should give you like a specific example. One will come to me in a minute.
Yeah.
But I
That's
do
good.
kind of feel like it's almost like you're, like when you're running a team and everything, everyone is doing, the best that they possibly can. And those they aren't necessarily specific to like one brand or one partnership or something, because the ideal, scenario here is that this creator is a partner with this brand and they're coming back and they're really getting to know each other and that sort of thing. And when you see that happening, that's exactly what it should be.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point to bring up too, like the long-term ongoing relationship piece
Yeah.
and something where it's, maybe you could talk a little bit about that of, a lot of the stuff that's out there. And, we've both been in this for a long time where all these platforms that are very transactional, and you're paying per post and it's disconnected from the relationship compared to, more of a long-term ongoing relationship with a creator from the brand perspective. Could you talk a little bit about that, like the
Mhm.
benefits you've seen from that?
Yes, I think that is so important, to be honest with you. I think more and more we're hearing from our creators, I want the long-term partnerships. I really want this chance to, understand this brand in a way that I'm important to them. I want to make this partnership something that I can count on, I can rely on. And the other side of that is on our end, because sort of these opportunities that are just a here and here kind of thing, they take just as much time as that larger opportunity that we really want to provide for the creator. And more of the creators obviously are coming to us and saying that is our future. How do we do that? And working on that and what that looks like is kind of one of our top priorities. And really, it's part of the education with the brand. It's like, it's a first date. It's only going to go so well, right? And it's only out there for what period of time? And can we think about this like longer partnership whereby everyone is getting better at it all the time? I do understand that, some brands simply want to test something. They want to really, understand who this person is. It's funny. One of the top questions that I get from brands is like, but does she really love our product? Does she really use it? And you know what? They want that. They want to know that this is authentic and it's real and this person is believing in them. And I think that sort of test case is definitely a legitimate, sort of let's try this. Let's see how it works. Let's see. But then come back and realize that was great. Or no, that we didn't expect it that. So let's move in this direction. But I think going forward, I think it really is the future of this industry. It's the only really sustainable way to do this instead of a little bit here, a little bit there kind of thing. And we're pushing for it. And I think as we get larger and as our, roster gets larger and everything, and we have more of a say in that, I think that will be very helpful.
Yeah, well, I think it's great. And I think it's, things underscore some of the things you said. Like we've seen on our side too with, some of the other activities where we're doing, we're running paid campaigns and
Yeah.
influencer content can be incorporated in that, or other tactics where having somebody that you work with that both, they have an audience, they understand the platforms, and now they understand your brand. It just, pays dividends in many of the ways. Again, like we talked earlier, it's hard to measure, but they're clearly the benefits are there.
Yes. And I think the brands can pretty quickly begin to see that, wow, this person, she posted this. All of a sudden we sold out of this kind of thing. So they can begin to see things like that.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about AI and how AI.
Really?
Yeah, I have to. We're doing many things with AI. Internally, externally. Obviously, it's changing all aspects of the business. And so I'm curious from your perspective, where you sit in the creator economy. Like, how do you see AI? We could get drill in and get more specific, but how is it affecting your work, the work of the creators, and just kind of where you sit in the business?
It's so funny. We have some amazing tech guy that we work with. He helps us with our website and any credit sort of issues and things. And he asked me the other day, so when are you ready to build out an AI assistant? And I was like, but wait, I just hired a new EA. I think I'm good for a minute. No,
You
but
get your EA and AI assistant.
I know. I can see it happening. You know me, I'm pretty optimistic person. I like to see that side of it. And because I believe so much in the power of content and how content can be all of these things, from education to inspiration to entertaining. Do you know what I mean? Like, we know good content when we see it. I often joke about how, like, if I'm in the dentist office and I sit down, remember when there were magazines in the dentist office? And I'd pick up something and I'd have no interest in golf or whatever it was. And I'd see something that interested me and I'd start reading and I'd be like, oh, this is great content. It's either really well written, that kind of thing. And I think in our guts, we know, what is beneficial to us. And I'm not sure at this point, I'm probably wrong about this, but I'm really holding on to the idea that really great content, really authentic partnerships, really, all of those things that are very human, I think, in so many ways, are going to rise above the efficiencies of AI. I mean, efficiencies of AI are great, right? We all need those pieces, but I don't think creators are going to be replaced by AI creators. And I know they're out there right now in spades. But it's pretty easy to tell what I mean is maybe it's going to get a lot smarter, or maybe that can happen, but I don't know. I guess we'll see. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting. And there are many different angles. Like you mentioned the efficiency piece, which I would agree is kind of a no brainer. Like make the stuff that we do and tick off the busy work, and people don't want to do that anyway, and
Yeah.
all those pieces. I think some of the things, and as it relates specifically to the conversation today about the creators and creator economy, I think some of the things we've been seeing, AI influencers aside,
Mhm.
seen some of these tools starting to come out where it's like tools for creators that's like
Yes.
kind of leveraging their likeness, but being able to create content with that. And,
Yeah.
so again, it's efficiencies in content production, but it's kind of blurring the lines between, oh, if it's you and you're doing it and creating it, is that still authentic? Even if you're using
Are we kind of all blurring the line right now? Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? I sort of feel like if I want to, let's say I want to go to my attorney or something and ask a bunch of questions about this particular topic, chances are I'm going to go to chat first, and kind of ask some of those questions so that by the time I get to my attorney, I'm a lot smarter about what I'm asking and I can spend less time and less money and that sort of thing. I feel like that kind of thing that's happening, that's just preparing you better for, to be a better consumer almost in the process. And I love that part of it. I run a lot of it by my chat guy. Simply because I don't want to go into something bald if basically I can be better at what what that opportunity would be, or maybe show me different ways to think about this. I do that too. I'm sure you do too.
Yeah, no, I think it's super valuable in that getting perspective and
Yeah.
getting, reviews, feedback, helping to level up. And I think it's another piece we see, just like leveling up a lot of things, right? Like the quality of a lot of deliverables And then there's also this other category of, that we've seen where maybe projects or work that wouldn't have gotten done are
Mhm.
now getting done because the analysis of like, well, the time and money it takes to do this is a someday thing, and all of a sudden it's like, well, maybe
It's
today.
accessible. Yeah. I like that part
Right.
of it. I know.
One other thought on this that I'm curious to get your perspective on is the like in real life, right, in person stuff, and something where again, as all the everything that's happening online, and I mean, social media has had its own stuff for a long time, but now add in AI, and it's what's real, what's not real. I'm curious if you're seeing growth in the like in person, whether that's in person events or brands that or bringing creators to brands or doing things with fans, or like have you seen how has that evolved, and do you see any
Mhm.
connection there?
It's one of our highest priorities right now, to be honest with you. It is something that we strive to do and build budgets around all the time. Like, meet this person here. I'm going to New York next week, and I think I'm going to get the chance to see like 5 of our creators that I haven't met before, and we can have these conversations, and we can really talk about the industry in a way that email does not allow. And it's the same thing with our brands. I get to chat with them, and no brand is going to come to me in email and say, "I've got this problem." But if I have a cup of coffee and I'm where that brand, they will tell me, "Oh yeah, this happened and that happened, and I don't know what to do." And then we can resolve it in a way that feels very, human at that point in time. But I think in real life is exactly how we kind of keep this industry itself really fresh and interesting and more perspectives, not let it become same old, same old. And it's interesting to watch, sort of younger creators and creators who have been around for a while kind of elevate their content in ways that they're learning differently and what they're seeing in the world and how that impacts their content. I just love all that part of it. But I do think any chance for me, like, to get out of the we all work at home. We're all remote. We all work at home. And luckily, there's a few of us who are actually based in Los Angeles, where I'm based. We'll do anything to have lunch together. Do you know what I mean? It's just so that we can keep those pieces going. And I try to do that with our teams across the country, too.
Love it. No, that's great.
Yeah, we need to have
uh,
coffee.
I know. I'm like, I
I'll
miss
see you
our
tomorrow.
getting together, and especially with the food space, it's like sharing food
Yes.
together is just such a human, ancient
Right.
thing, and being able to do that is one of the best parts of
Sometimes,
all of it.
sometimes when we're talking brand partnerships, we got the brand over here, we got the creator over here. We talk about like, okay, let's sit down at this dining room table right now together because that's where the conversation happens, right? Let's really talk there so that we each understand each other in a kind of profound way over food, basically.
Yeah,
I
that's great. I love
food
that.
people.
I do want to ask you about brands specifically. I'm curious if there are, any brands in food and beverage that you think are doing great work today that you feel like deserve.
Oh, yeah, I was thinking about that. A couple come to mind, and we were talking about Expo West a little bit earlier. But for those who don't know, Expo West is, I think it's the world's largest convention built around the concept of health and wellness and foods that are good for you. It is one of the things that we always do. We go every year, and there's so much discovery there. There's you're discovering new brands and you're discovering sort of new ways people are thinking about working with creators. It's a lot of conversation. And I was there a couple weeks ago, and it was funny. I decided to basically spend a little more time in the supplement side of the business than I had before. Usually, I kind of walk the aisles of the food, trying to get the trends and what's happening and make those connections. But I got up really early one morning, even before like they were open, and I was like, "Oh, people are setting up. I'm going to go talk to some of these supplement people." And I met up with Gaia Herbs, which is this incredible brand. I don't know if you know. I had heard of it, but I didn't know a lot about it. It's a supplement brand that's basically built around the idea of farming their own products and getting themselves to a level that it's called, I need to note this. It's called regenerative organic certified farm product. And it's like organic is the base part of it. And then I think it's called rock effectively. People call it rock, but it's just like as high as you can get about the credibility of what you're doing. The soil is everything to them, and how they talk about it and how they are in the process of learning how to market that story. We must have talked for an hour. It was so interesting, and how they take their products and they're creating really interesting new versions of, sort of sleep aids or something like that. That kind of stopped me in my tracks. And I also met up with the people from Peoria. I don't know if you know Peoria. Interestingly enough, they were not in the supplement section. They were over in the food section, but they create an amazing sort of like collection of supplements that they've been in the business for a long time. And their focus is really on like sustainability. And they talk about it all the time. And it's built into the story of their products. And we've worked with them for a long time. They're just the most creative, like supplement, like company that I think that I had ever come across. So things like that, where you're realizing that the industry is always changing, right? We're always some of us are interested in supplements, some of us live by supplements, kind of thing, and really how that is changing the whole kind of landscape of what food products are. Like we were talking about one of the things I'm seeing in the CPG brands is this kind of they're talking about their margins getting thinner and thinner in, sort of the world we live in right now, and what they're doing about that. And for many of them, it has been that kind of slow walk to maybe we should get in the supplement area, the supplement category, and see what we can do there. Obviously, it's a remove from what they usually do, but it's also that opportunity to kind of get in on this, this opportunity now that may be a better investment for them. So we're kind of watching that happen at the same time.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think they're definitely agree seeing this almost like a blurring of supplements and food. Sometimes like
they're kind of one and the same almost now.
Now it's with the functional food, it's like you're incorporating that as a supplement, or different form factors for supplements. Like obviously gummies have exploded, and other things that are.
It was fascinating. I think I'll going forward, I'm going to make sure that's my first stop from now on in. But I also love all the popcorn and stuff too. So
all the snacks.
All the snacks.
All right, Laurie, I got one last question for you. Before I ask it, I do want to point people to where to find you and connect with you. So I want to point people to your website. So CookIt Media, and that's CookIt-media.com.
Yes.
Is there anywhere else that you would recommend people go to connect with you or learn more about cooking?
Anybody can go to my Instagram or anything like that. I'm Laurie Buck. I don't talk a lot about influence over there. I'm mostly horses and grandchildren. But yes, they can definitely feel free to contact me there.
Awesome. Great. Okay, so the last question, we kind of touched on this, try to connect some of the dots here. So there's a ton of noise, in marketing, and the shiny object syndrome, like all these things to look at. So when you look at the space now, all the noise aside, like what signal are you saying, or what are the kind of things that you think are really important in this space?
I think it is what we talked about earlier. It is that transformation from creator focused on brand partnerships into this world of a really diversified strategy around what you can do. In some ways, that means a website. That's one thing we hadn't really talked about yet, but it is that, brands aren't very interested in blog posts, but diversification of revenue and a great, well-built website, especially in the food space, can be a very profitable thing. All of these things, like a line of spices, a cookbook, all of those have a potential sort of financial strategy around them that supplements this industry in a way that it basically keeps the rates in a place where, brands can afford it. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But it also creates for the creator those opportunities that will obviously increase revenue, but also increase relevance and awareness out there for them, build their brands at the same time. So I think it's that kind of yin yang of how are we getting there? How are we doing that? And understanding as an agency, our role in that process.
That's great. Thank you. All right. We've been talking to Laurie Buckle, CEO of CookIt Media. Be sure to check her out at cookit-media.com. Laurie, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. So much fun.
Thanks for listening to the Missing Ingredient podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.